a virtual event organizer, if you're an event organizer and are putting together a virtual event, then you better make sure to watch this video because your speakers are crucial in the experience of your participants. It doesn't matter if you're doing an event on Zoom, in Teams, or even the most complicated virtual event platform, you better watch this video because if your event doesn't have virtual speakers that are prepared and ready to go live and are going to deliver a unique experience to your participants, then for sure your event is going to have a very rough time. What up, guys? My name is Juan Guerra, and I'm the founder of Be Seen Live. We are a production partner for virtual events based out of Vienna, and we work with event organizers, companies, digital marketeers, and marketing agencies, helping you deliver a unique experience online to all your participants. And so if you're thinking of putting together a virtual event and have some questions on what you can do, make sure to check our website. But now let's go back to actually what this session today it's all about. And it is how to prepare your virtual speakers so that they succeed with their presentations and their content at your event. In a virtual experience, in a virtual event, it's all about the content. It's all about being able to connect your speakers with your audience so that they can have a connection, they can interact with one another. But if your virtual speakers are not ready, then a lot of things can go wrong. Because while in a physical event, you have a tech team that is managing all the technology, all the connections, all that stuff. In a virtual event, you may get a production partner like us to help out, but even though there are a lot of things that are going to depend on the speaker's side. And so if you are putting together a virtual event, the first thing that you need to plan is to rehearse and work with all your speakers ahead of time at least once, and so that you can ensure that they're going to have a smooth presentation. Obviously, the more the better, but at the same time, we understand that events, the currency of events are the speakers, and so the higher the profile, the less chance you're going to have to get that you're going to be able to take them and have some time with them to make sure that they're ready to go live. And so it's a bit of a challenge, but yeah, at all costs, you need to ensure that somehow you manage to rehearse with all of them and prepare them, because the space for mistakes grows exponentially as now every single speaker is a bottleneck. While at your old event, in your physical event, it's just one clicker, you swap it, that's it. Or maybe the slides, the computer just crash or something like that. In a virtual event, this can happen with every single speaker. So it's not one clicker, it's 10 clickers. It's on the other side. You cannot just go and swap it. So make sure the first thing that you need to make sure is that you set in advance, as you're planning your production timeline, you set 2 days before, 3 days before the event, you have a call. It can be a group call with your speakers where you walk them through the process so that they can envision themselves within the event, that they know what to expect, they can orient themselves, and that way when the event comes, they're not seeing everything for the first time. Yes, chances are that by now people have an idea of how to use Zoom. You would expect so, but we still see a lot of like, can you hear my slide? Can you hear my slides? Can you see me? Can you see my slides? And so on and so on. So you definitely want to schedule that in advance. And so when you invite them early enough, you can already tell them. And the cool thing about this is you can actually group it into one call. If you do this individually and you have many speakers, you're going to go crazy because it's going to require a lot of time. Just group, schedule 1 hour, invite them all to come over to that 1 hour, and then you can do all the checks with them. What should you check to make sure that they're ready to go live with you? Well, there are two things here. One is the content. A virtual event, it's all about the content. But in this video, I'm not going to go actually, I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to leave that for another video. What we're going to focus on is on the tech side, how to make sure you eliminate or minimize as much as you can the space for failure. The first thing is you invite them to the call and you obviously ask them to turn on their camera and you want to see if they're able to do it. There are privacy settings that they need to allow their camera to be shared. The next thing comes with the audio. So you want to make sure that they have a proper audio, that there are no feedback loops, and also that then in their camera, they look sharp, that it is clear. And I'll go into that a bit more in detail. But obviously, we have those two. Many people say, well, video is not so important. Audio is the most important thing. It was back in the day. If you're watching an event, you also want video quality to be as high as possible. Once you solve the audio issue, then everybody's going to watch the quality of the picture. And so in a business event, in a corporate event, the quality of the picture, the audio, people are going to relate that to your brand. I mean, right now, I am a production partner for virtual events. If my video would be crappy, if I wouldn't be sharp, if I wouldn't sound clearly, if I wouldn't have enough light, you would automatically assume that I don't know what we're doing and you wouldn't be trusting what I'm telling you, or you wouldn't hire us as a company. It is the same way for your event. If the participants don't look right, if you don't have the proper graphics, if people don't look sharply, sound good, it's going to be a reflection on your brand. So you definitely want to make sure that their video looks good and that it works and that their audio looks good. So in the rehearsal, the good thing is that then you can ask them to activate it and they will know that when they do the same at the event, they can be heard, and then you don't need to waste time of like, can you see my slides? Can you hear me? Can you see me? And that leads to the next point. Ask them to share their slides. Many times, the privacy settings on the computer, especially if it is a Mac, are not authorized to just go and share the slides. And it forces the person, if they don't do it and this shows up during the event, it forces the person to restart the tool. Yeah. Maybe they don't have to and they can continue being live, but at the same time, this can then create some problems with the tool. So obviously the best is that when you have the rehearsal, you ask every participant one by one, turn on your camera, turn on your microphone, please share your screen, look for some slides, switch through the slides. You want to make sure that their computer has enough power to be able to send the signal with the camera, the audio, to be able to switch between the slides. Maybe they're using Google Slides, and so it's online, so it needs to switch, it needs to load. Maybe it is PowerPoint, and so you want to make sure that there's no lag as they're going through it, because otherwise, if their slides start to lag as they click on them as they're live, they're going to go crazy during your event. So you want to check at least those 3 things. Another thing that you want to check is, do they have any videos? Are they planning to show any videos in their presentation? If they do, and you're doing your event on Zoom, or the best, if you have a partner company, then just send them the videos. They need to check them. They need to be in a special format. And then the person can say, can you please play the video? And then the production company can embed the video into the live stream. If you're doing this on Zoom, there is on the top left corner regarding audio, and turn original audio on. And so if you have a video in your presentation, this way the audio would also come through, because the noise canceling functions of the webinar conference tool is not going to allow any video to come from a presentation. If you're using this on Teams and you're sharing your screen, you can go to the top. There is a function also for the audio, and you can put, I think it's computer audio. We are not using that function, but it comes there, and then you can click it off or computer from the audio from the computer, and then you can share any videos you have. What are the other things that you want to check with your speakers? If you are using a virtual platform, the best would be to show them how the participants are actually going to see them. How are they going to experience their presentation? This is going to help them forecast or envision actually how to make their presentation more engaging. Now, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because then maybe they want to then use flip charts. And while this sounds very interesting because it's a different way to deliver presentations online, well, if they're using just a webinar camera, then the flip charts are going to be too far away. They need to have big fonts. Then they're talking to a microphone that is behind them. It creates a lot of complicated logistics. The best way would be to find tools like Miro or Mural, and then they can use those as whiteboards or their flip charts, and then they just share their screen and they can show everybody what they wanted to show on the flip chart, but then they do it on a digital way. The next thing is actually, as they walk through the process, that they envision, okay, can I have some polls? Can I ask some questions? Is there a delay between when I ask a question and when the audience is going to see me asking that question? If you're not using a tool like Zoom, but you're maybe using a virtual platform or YouTube right now, there's actually about a 5 to 7 seconds delay between what I say and when you see me. And so it's going to be the same way. You need to check for that if you want to have different interactions with the participants. Take that into consideration, which is completely normal. This is going to happen according to the platform. But then also, if you have some polls, maybe some answers that they built into a cloud, there are many things that you can add into the presentation, and walking your speaker through the process, like showing them where the participant is going to experience the presentation, can be quite inspiring for them. Now, keep in mind that you definitely don't want to do this 3 days before the event, because then they're going to go crazy redoing their whole presentation. If this is something that you want to offer them, then maybe you can discuss it in the beginning as you book them or you confirm them. You ask them to check or to look into these tools and let you know if they're going to use them, so you know that in advance. The other thing is with the video and the presentations is if there's any copyright music within the video, because if you're in YouTube, this is going to hit the copyright claim. If you're on Facebook Live, it can be that they actually stop the event right there on the spot. So you want to make sure keep this in mind. Also, your production team may need to know in advance that there's going to be audio coming from the presentation and the slides, because they might be muted or they may not be connected. So these are things that if you have a production team, you definitely want to check. Now, as I start wrapping this up for your participants, key thing with the slides, they need to understand that people are watching them in a little screen. So please talk to them. Use big fonts and do not load the slides with a lot of text. The slides should be there to support them, not as a script for them to deliver their presentation, not to deliver the presentation for them. Otherwise, you could just send the slides to your participants. So ask them to have big fonts, to have some keywords, some pictures, so that then people can focus on the experience, on the interaction of them delivering the content. Last thing has to do with the background. If the background is noisy, if there's a lot of things that are distracting, then you definitely want to ask them to clear that out so that it looks a bit more organized. In your rehearsal call, make sure that they are in the same place where they're going to be delivering their presentation. That will give you a good overview. Also, when it comes to light, you don't want them to only have light from the top, because it's going to create some weird shadows on their face. If they don't have an extra light that they can use to light their face so that they can look sharper, yes, they can be in front of a window, but that has quite inconsistent lighting. And so it's going to be changing all the time. If a cloud comes, then they're not really prepared. But it's definitely better than having the window behind you, because webcams, if they're using webcams, then it's going to be too bright and the sensor is not that good. And so they're not going to look that sharp. They may just look as a silhouette and you cannot actually see them. When it comes to microphone, audio, headphone, at least in the worst case, absolutely do not use the microphone from the laptop. First, it comes with a lot of echo from the room, and which can make it quite hard for people to understand what they're saying. And on the other side, if they're listening through the speakers, you can create some feedback loop, which then makes it quite complicated to deliver their presentation. If they don't have then earphones nearby, it can be quite tricky. These are all things that you want to make sure that you talk with them in the rehearsal before they go live. Last things will be troubleshooting. What happens if they lose internet? Well, they need to go back online. Maybe they can send you the presentation as a backup so you have it in case they cannot share it. What happens if they cannot activate their camera? Just walk through them different things that they can troubleshoot by themselves there, like prepare yourself with their backup slides, or if you lose them, what do you do? What are the next steps? How to come back into the call in an easy way so that you can bring them back up. There's a lot, and we can talk about this for hours. That's why we actually have put together a training that if you're an event organizer and you would actually would like to have some support on this, you can actually send your guest speakers, your remote speakers to our training, and we will make sure that they're ready to go for your event. More on that on the description below. Just follow the link. You can learn more about it. If you're looking for a virtual a partner for your virtual event that can support you with all the production as well, just go in the description below, click on the link, bscenelive.com, and you can find more information there. If you're interested in learning more about how to use virtual events to scale your business, whether you're an event organizer, a marketing agency, a digital marketer, or a business owner, how you can launch your business with virtual events, then make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. We go live Monday through Thursday here in this channel at 8 p.m. Vienna time. Thank you so much for sticking all the way until the end. My name is Juan Guerra, and I'll see you tomorrow here at 8 p.m. Vienna time. Goodbye.